Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Marion.
And I'm Corey Baumeister.
And we've got Rob in the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. We have yet another Star City Games on SCG Tour Online Season 2 Championship Qualifier.
Number 4.
This weekend.
Yes.
And we wanted to prepare.
I feel like you added a word in there too, but whatever. We'll let it slide.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like 37 words. You're bound to add one.
Branding changes every week, yeah.
So we are preparing for that tournament today, and when it comes to preparing for Standard, there's really only one deck that immediately pops into your head, and that is Sultai Ramp. So we are going to put Sultai Ramp through its paces, show off some decks we think can compete against Sultai if that is not your thing. And, you know, I think there are definitely decks that can compete with it. I don't think Sultai is nearly on the same level as Team of Reclamation or Jeskai Luka Fires before it or Simic Oko before it. You know,
agreed.
So there's a lot of different angles of attack here. You know, the Sultai deck in particular doesn't have a way to go super far over the top the way that Jeskai Luka and Team of Reclamation did. Those decks, if you didn't kill them fast enough and didn't completely shut them down, would eventually set up a turn that just buried you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, either Reclamation would just kill you with a one-shot explosion, or they would draw 10 cards and you were dead, or the Luka deck would steal 3 of your permanents
in one turn.
And then draw 3 cards with Agent, maybe 6 cards with 2 agents. Who knows? And you know, you were just so laughably far behind on resources after that the game was out of reach.
Yeah.
Sultai doesn't really do that.
No.
I mean, you have Hydro Crisis, you have Uro. These are great cards at providing card advantage. They're very resilient cards against disruption, but they're never going to set up a turn where you draw 8 cards unless you're super late into the game with Hydroid Crisis.
Exactly.
You know? So very rarely going to do something like that. So I think there is the chance to be able to compete with them on a fair level, really, you know, play some interactive Magic, not have to worry about just getting them dead immediately or worry about completely shutting them down. You can actually compete on their level, and that gives me a lot of hope for the metagame's ability to adapt.
Yep. I think Sultai right now, we're seeing decks start to beat it, and it is kind of this Sultai arms race thing that we're dealing with, where Sultai decks are trying to go over the top of each other, and then eventually they keep, you know, trying to fight against each other, so they're giving up aggro slots and stuff, and we're starting to see these aggressive decks, these tempo decks, be able to sneak in and win. And honestly, we were looking at 3 decks that really could compete with Sultai, and we're like, well, wow, is there no deck that really tries to attack it in a different way than attacking? You know, is there any deck that tries to control it, like blue-white control and stuff? And really, it's just not like that right now. This is the deck that's going over the top of other decks, but we are seeing decks that are trying to go under it. Now, we also saw last weekend at our Standard Championship Qualifier number 3, won by Alexander. Sorry, I forget the...
Brown.
Okay, thank you. But he played Sultai, but just in a more tempo fashion. It was all Sharks, all Brazen Borrowers, really trying to attack it in a different way, and that was successful. But other than that, we're seeing Sultai just add more Narsets, you know, maybe add more casualties and stuff. Cards that aggro doesn't really care about. So right now we're seeing aggro sneak under and not really seeing control, but we got 3 great decks that I think can compete with it. And let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting with Rakdos Sacrifice. This is the deck that I've been playing a lot and enjoying success with. I wrote my article this week about it, and I think the deck is quite good. You'll notice the list that I'm playing does not have Mayhem Devil in it. This is not a card I think is particularly well positioned when you don't have Cat Oven. You just don't end up triggering it that often. You know, you still have Woe Strider, but you need a battlefield filled with creatures for Woe Strider Mayhem Devil to do a lot of work, and in those situations it's often overkill. So I just haven't been impressed with the card. I'm playing Liliana Standard Bearer and actually Judith the Scourge Diva, trying to get a little bit more aggressive. Judith also helps replace some of that reach and extra damage against aggressive decks.
Yeah, Judith and Mayhem Devil with Woe Strider, it's the same amount of damage, except Judith is a better card. So that makes total sense. Yeah,
it goes really well with Whisper Squad. Creating a wide battlefield. So I like that change. This is my list of Rakdos, and in particular, I think the Sultai matchup is solid.
Okay.
I went 3-2 in the Sultai matchup last week, but I made a key mistake in game 2 of one of the matches when I'd already lost game 1. So it's almost like I was 3-1 going into game 3.
Sure.
If I just hadn't made that one. I'm struggling to remember what exactly I did, but I did it. It was something silly where I didn't realize that my opponent had played an Uro, already had an Uro in the graveyard, and then drew into Cry their Carnarium off of that Uro and cast it.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize that the Uro they had played that turn was going to get exiled from their graveyard.
Yep.
And so when I was scrying with Woestrider in response, I put an Agonizing Remorse on the bottom of my deck, thinking that they had 2 Uros, so I wasn't going to do anything.
Okay.
Had I realized that their Uro was going to get exiled, I keep the Remorse, exile the other Uro, and then they wouldn't have had any way to pull ahead.
Oh, okay. That's a weird interaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, reminded of when Cry was hitting Cat Oven. It's like it didn't matter if you sacked it and it stayed in your graveyard. That cat was gone. Yeah.
So really weird interaction that I didn't catch on to. So the Sultai matchup is solid. Like this deck, it's not a blindly aggressive deck. You got to play the matchup in a very measured way. You can't get blown out by Extinction Event. You can't play too passive and let them resolve a Nissa on tap with it. So there's some tension there between those 2 cards, and then obviously Uro. So there's a lot of different things to keep to be wary of from the Rakdos side, but you want to be putting pressure on them, not overextending, and be able to play through their disruption, and you do have the capability of doing that.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to be playing Sultai. I top 8'd, but lost in the top 8 for the 4th time. You
don't need to say that.
Yeah, that's already out there. But this is the list I played, and you'll notice if you just look at my list, I was trying to compete in this arms race, right? I just added a bunch of Narsets. I changed my deck in such a way that I gave myself the best chance for the mirror, but I was lacking against some aggro decks. I just didn't play many of them, but next week, for this weekend, I might definitely have to reevaluate and maybe even jump ship, try something different, or change my list a little bit, but I ended up losing to one of the Sultai decks that played Shark Typhoons to next level the Narset plan, and, just thoroughly crushed me. So, I don't know. I still like the list, but if it's going to be good for this week, we'll see. So
yeah, now we have not only all these decks trying to beat Sultai, but then different variants of Sultai popping up to try to be better in the mirror. Now we're probably going to see some Sultai decks that are more targeted towards the aggro decks if they pop up. So it's a lot of Sultai in the metagame, but there is variation here.
Agreed. And yeah, it was only like 35% or something of the SCG, which is a lot. But I kind of just expected it to be more at this point. But I honestly don't expect as much this week. I'm going to guess like 22%, to be honest. But we'll see.
Yeah, we definitely will. People like their Sultai decks.
So I got the marbles over there, so it means you get to start it up, and let's see if Sultai is beatable.
And I have a solid hand. I will be keeping this.
I have a Sultai hand as well. Yeah.
I'm going to go to 18 and play Gutter Bones.
Okay.
Fast turn.
Zabones. All right. I am going to go with a Temple. I don't really need this extra land right now, so I'm going to bottom that and pass to you.
Heinous draw, attack for 2.
Beat downs, 18.
18 all. I've got a castle and a priest.
Okay.
That's the turn.
Pretty good. All right. Pretty easy play for me here. I'm going to take 2 and Thought Erasure you.
You go to 16.
Yep.
I think it's pretty clear which one you want to take.
I think I know what you drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just got to be Croxa here. The Whisper Squad's it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, let's take that. Not a very good Thought Erasure anyways. I don't need this land either, so let's get rid of that. Pass to you.
Okay. So we don't have to play that land just yet.
Okay.
Definitely want to attack for 2.
I will go to a 14.
Play squad.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to priest this turn. The question is whether I want to activate Squad first and then leave the Gutter Bones in my hand after returning it with the 2 black mana, or whether I want to wait on activating Whisper Squad and instead get the Gutter Bones onto the battlefield. And I think applying more pressure with the Gutter Bones on the battlefield is more important, especially with another squad in my hand.
Okay.
That could run afoul of another discard spell. But honestly, discard spell taking Whisper Squad is not a huge deal.
It's not the most powerful thing I've ever heard, yeah.
So I'm going to sack these.
I'll go to 12.
We'll go to 12. I have 2 black in pool. And I will return Gutter Bones. I will play Castle and play it. And then I guess I can still just play this Whisper Squad.
Makes sense to me. You did some things.
Pass the turn.
Okay, a decent draw here. I think my turn is pretty easy, though. Let's just get Uro. Go to 15. Draw. Definitely putting in a land. It's just which one. Yeah, all right. I'll put this into play and pass to you. Yes.
Let's get in for 3.
Okay, I'll take it. Down to 12.
Let's activate the squad.
Okay. Yeah, Whisper Squad's a cool addition. I haven't seen that card played since Obosh. Before the nerfing, Obosh and Whisper Squad were pretty awesome together. But yeah, it's nice to see that card actually used relevantly again.
Yeah,
Seems great with Priest.
Yeah, it is. And without Cat, you're really more invested in just getting a lot of creatures onto the battlefield to start using the sacrifice energies.
Yep.
Squad helps you a lot in doing that.
Makes sense to me.
So I have you at 12.
Yep.
Got one more squad. So let's you got 3 in the graveyard?
I got 3, yep.
So Priest again.
I'll go to 10.
2 black in pool.
Okay.
Fatal Passage sack.
Okay, now Croxa is going to be possible next turn. I got to keep an eye on that.
And use one of the black, return Gutter Bones, use the other black to play it.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
All right. I'm going to play Nissa. Now, what kind? I might want to get an island because I want to use my breeding pool here just in case to get Uro back if something dies. So yeah, let's get an island. Animate thy breeding pool. Attack for 3.
I go to 15.
And then your go.
Have not really found a whole lot to do, which is unfortunate.
I like that. All right, you're at 15, I'm at 10, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You have 4 in hand?
Yep.
Untapping the breeding pool certainly suggests Corey has an Ether Gust in hand, which is quite good here. Oof.
All right, it's going to be a big turn.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go very well for me.
I do like the look of your Rakdos deck a lot more than, for instance, the one that took second a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Luris. That is...
Yeah, I could see like one of just in the deck, like not using it as a companion.
Gonna
Yep.
activate the squad.
Okay. Squad up. Squad goals. That is your last squad.
It is.
Yeah, I wish I could have dealt with this priest a lot earlier. I wish that thought erasure wasn't eliminated, and I think this game looks a lot different. Priest is just so good. It's just so unreal.
Do I want to do this, actually? Maybe I can't afford to do this. So I can eliminate the breeding pool by with the priest, and then resolve this Croxa through a gust, but then you just get to gust it on your turn. So you don't have a ton of mana. 4 cards in hand right now?
4, yep. You know none of them.
But I do think that's my best way through this game. Yeah, actually, I can't do this.
Okay. Ross
Okay.
cheated. Nice.
Yeah, just shuffled my deck.
Okay, perfect.
We'll trigger your psychogenic probes. Do you have that card up, Rob?
No.
Ah,
Didn't know I
God.
was going to make a psychogenic probe reference.
Jeez.
Slacking over here.
Classic Mirrored in Bulk Rare.
Okay, I think I have an idea what Ross is going to do here.
Okay. Let's actually play this turn the best I can, I think, which is still not great. So I will sack these.
Blue-green.
Yeah. You go to 8.
Yep.
I have black in pool, and
Mm-hmm.
I will return Gutter Bones.
Okay.
Oh, no, I can't do that still. That's why I needed, Jesus.
You can't return it if you want a Croxa, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I will say, Mirrodin and like that kind of like that plane just has some scary art.
Mirrodin was
New
pretty
Phyrexia
scary.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Mirrodin, well, wait. Was Mirrodin right around Onslaught? No, that was Odyssey I'm thinking of. Odyssey was right around Onslaught, I believe. That's just when I started. So that has the nostalgic feel to me. Yeah, one addition, if you are copying my list, don't play this. This was a big mistake. Just don't play temples. Just play more triomes that are blue-green. Just more breeding pools, essentially. This was my one deck flaw that I forgot to correct, so do not do what I did.
Okay, let's play the Croxa.
Okay.
Or go to second.
I don't know. Okay.
Play the Croxa.
Okay.
Trigger.
You gotta pay mana.
Oh, that's why. Oh. You're confusing me here. I need to use the 2 black mana. So
Okay.
before we go, we got to use this and play that
Okay.
and get our goat.
Okay.
Then we got to go to second main.
Okay.
Then we
There
got to play the Croxa.
All right.
I had this all lined up in my head. And you're just,
That all makes sense now. Okay. So I'm at 8, you're at 15.
yes.
I don't really want to deal myself damage, and I don't think I need this Cultivate anymore. I mostly wanted it in my hand so I could discard it, or so I could play it to get Uro back, but I think that's fine to just discard, so I'll do that.
Okay, and then I'll pass the turn.
Okay. All right. So I only have 2 blue available. I guess Nissa can help that out. Let's go with... Let's start with Uro.
Okay, brings you to 11.
Yep.
Good.
Draw. I'll play this land. And I'll play this land. And I will tick up on this land. This is land. And now it was pretty apparent that I have a gust, and I think I am incentivized to do it now, even though you can get a scry. But if I untap, then you can like priest to sack it. So I think I am going to... I don't even want to declare tax because I do not want you to be able to block and then priest this. So yeah, it's just gust time.
And I will give 2 in hand.
Yep.
Okay, I need to just hit a claim here, I think, to have any shot. So let's sacrifice this. And
Okay.
scry. That was another potential interesting one. How much does this help me? You have 2 cards in hand?
2 cards, yep. Yeah, it's been a very close game. Just Sultai trying to claw back in. Most of the games, that's what most of the games entail from the Sultai side.
So if I keep that, I get to...
Clock.
Yeah, I think I might. I think I'm actually going to keep this.
All right, let's do it.
It's a really awkward. Yeah, that's actually not that awkward, but it's going to be a weird line. this
Okay,
turn.
I'm excited. Not really, but
I'm going to do some weird stuff.
okay. Weird stuff has been declared.
So, what I want is. Oh no, I'm 1 short. God. Why is this game so hard?
It's been pretty easy on my side. Just ramp, thought erasure, casting this. I hope it's good enough.
I was doing all the math to crox it with cards. I forgot about how much mana I was going to have, and I'm actually 1 mana short. So maybe I can't keep this. Ugh, wow. Man, I came up with such a cool line, too. If I keep this...
Only on the Nissa side do you have infinite mana.
It just doesn't quite do enough because you're going to still be left with that Nissa. And I have to... I'm not going to be able to keep this around. That's the problem.
Okay.
I'm 1 body away. If I had known this was on top, I would have put the Crocs on top off the Gust.
Okay.
and then we would have been okay.
Yeah, a lot of contextual stuff.
It would have actually been interesting because I would have put you to potentially dead next turn.
All right, we'll make a play.
Yeah. I think unfortunately, I think I have to bottom this actually because I'm 1 short. I can't Rankle and Croxa this turn. The Rankle does deal with both of your creatures and get the arrow off the battlefield, but it's going to leave you with a Nissa and me with effectively nothing. And I just don't think that's good enough. I guess you will be at 6. Maybe it is good enough. So I can like Croxy the next turn, but no, it's just not. So I'll bottom that.
Okay.
And I'll draw. Sorry that took forever. I'm not really sorry, but kind of. Okay, I will Village Rights the goat token.
Okay. Drawing some magical cards. How many of those do you still play?
4.
4? Okay. That card's still good, but just some of the other things from the list you didn't like?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a powerful effect, that's for sure.
continue to just not draw very well.
I love the turn 3 of Play Croxa and then Village Rights it. That just feels so dirty.
Yeah, when you have time to do something like
Yeah, exactly.
that. 2 black. I have not played a land yet.
No.
So if I sack these to priest, you sack this, you go to 7. I have now 4 cards total in my graveyard. If I rip the claim, then I get to claim this. I guess I get another land off the claim too, so I'll have plenty of mana to escape the Woe Strider. Even though I will be only 1 short of killing you. But yeah, that's my only chance of winning this game, I think.
Okay.
So let's priest. So you're going to go to 7. I'm going to go to 17.
7 to 17. And yeah, it still seems like I should sack Island. There's some thought to just sacking Uro and not giving you that chance. But it's just such a good card, but maybe it's just not needed. Nah, we're gonna sack this. Okay. Feels too wrong.
Pool.
Okay.
Jesus.
I sense that's not a claim.
It is not. Play a Fabled Passage and sack it.
Okay.
Another mountain, I guess. And I guess I just have to play this Woe Strider.
Okay.
I could activate Castle and hope to rip, but then I don't have
Then
a
you
way
can't sack it?
Yeah, I can't even sack the Uro.
That sounds bad.
Point. So I think, we'll just recast the Woe Strider.
Okay.
And get a goat, and then pass the turn.
All right. I like that. Wow, it's been so long since I've untapped these lands. It feels like a different tournament.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now let's see. Got lots of good options now.
If I had claimed that turn, I think I would have won this game very easily.
Definitely a possibility.
But
yeah, claim is just so good against Uro. Eight. Let's start with the Crisis for 6.
yeah, you go to 10.
10. Draw 3. Now let's... Can't attack into that with my land anyways, so I might as well see what this can find first. So attack with Uro. Go to 13. Draw. Let's play Forest off Uro.
I will take 6. I go to 11.
All right. Then let's go with... Take 2, down to 11 as well. Blue, or yeah, 1 green floating to Fairy. Let's draw. Discard. Overgrown Tomb. I played both my lands. So now let's untap Triome and pass to you.
Sounds about right. I will claim the Hydroid Crisis. A little bit late on that.
A little bit. In response, I'm going to phase out the Priest.
That is fine.
And okay.
You're at 11.
11, yep.
Okay, if we find another claim, we can just end the game right now.
I don't like that.
So, I guess we don't have a priest right now anyway. You're going to have to block here with that. So I think we should just scry with the goat.
Okay.
Yeah, scry with the goat. Bottom that swamp.
Taking 4?
I will take 4.
All right.
I will go to 7.
Okay.
I will attack you for 11. Actually, I guess I can't do that because I'm now at 7. And I didn't draw anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of gross. I guess I just attack you to 5. Maybe I couldn't afford to get rid of the goat in case I bricked, but I mean, if I brick, like, I'm probably just dead anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just dead.
Yeah, I have a gust too.
Okay. Well, I drew.
Yeah. Yeah, you missed some key turns where if you draw that, just the claim, like I'm on the back foot and it's like I had, the draw I typically want. Thought Erasure into Uro into Nissa. That's Sultai. That's Sultai 101 right there. And then I even got to untap, have an interactive spell. But here's another thing where these aggressive decks have zigged, or at least you have zigged a little bit, is you're blanking Aether Gust. And that's kind of the MO for the tournament. You're not blanking it, but my gusts are not great.
It's another reason to cut Mayhem Devil is that is the best target for Aether Gust in the deck outside of Escape Croxa.
Yeah. And I mean, you have Judith too, so it kind of evens out, but yeah, I agree. Minimizing your red cards right now in a world full of Gus, I think is the way to do it. So we're going to head to the sideboard where I know I got to mention the God Eternals, the anti-aggro card. We'll see what Ross has for me as well. Don't go anywhere here on Versus Live.
Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Sultai Ramp and Rakdos Sacrifice. On my side, we've got a nice array of sideboard cards here. A little bit of discard and Agonizing Remorse. I go with this one because I can exile Uro. Also have a Soul Guide Lantern to target that. We bring in some removal spells here that can deal specifically with Nissa on turns where, I haven't been able to generate enough of a battlefield to attack it down.
Yep.
We saw that happen in game 1. It was a problem. So, these removal spells work really well. And then one Bolus of Citadel to help, the Rakdos deck go over the top of what Sultai's doing. If your hand is too removal heavy, Bolus of Citadel is going to take over the game.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to be extinction eventing that one.
Yeah. Cutting some of our low impact creatures in Serrated Scorpion and Mire Triton.
Okay.
Triton is a nice one that I wouldn't mind leaving in, but it's just one of the weaker overall cards in the deck.
Yep.
So it can easily get cut. Judith gets a lot worse in this matchup post board when you have a lot of removal. You just aren't able to generate the kind of wide battlefield that takes advantage of it as effectively. And then while Priest and Claim are among the more powerful cards in the deck, they can be situationally bad. Games where, especially games where your opponent has a lot of disruption, they're just not going to do a whole lot because Claim needs a sacrifice outlet to do something. Priest needs, a significant battlefield to start activating.
Yeah, it all makes sense to me except that. I mean, I just feel like Priest is just so good. I totally get trimming on the other stuff, but I do not play much Rakdos, so I'll defer to you.
It's not a card that you want to draw a ton of in this matchup, especially post board when you have other removal in. You just need to have cards that apply a bit more pressure.
Yeah, and I can break up your stuff a lot more now that I'm not leaving all these bad cards in. So that makes sense.
Javier actually posted a sideboard guide, Javier Dominguez, of a Rakdos list that he and some other people have been playing. He actually cuts all 4 of them.
Wow.
I think is like a little out there, but that they're maybe they just have a different idea of the matchup than I do. But they cut all the priests, and their list has a couple of Lazotep Reavers in it to go with priests. So they without priest, Reaver gets a lot.
Yep. Oh, good old Lazatep Reaver. Just barely playable in that limited set, but it's been like just crushing lately.
There are games where a priest just takes over on a proactive way. You saw me use it with Whisper Squad and Gutterbones there, and that was the only way I even had a chance I could.
Yeah, you probably dealt me like 8 or 10 with that priest,
and
you know?
three extra cards. So, it's just a very good card in the deck. So I rarely cut it even in matchups where, your opponent doesn't play that many creatures.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Okay, so from my end, it just becomes a story of I have too many cards I really don't want, especially on the draw. Like Narset can be okay on the play. Control priest a little bit, doesn't come up that often, but it is decent at refueling. But on the draw, you just have too many little creatures that can pressure it. Taking out all but one gust, those key claim turns, it's not bad. We have a couple things to do with it, but not a card I really want as well. And then casualties, I'm replacing with Enter the God Eternals as my big spell to kind of catch up. This is really our main anti-aggro card. We already have a lot of ways to deal with creatures in the main. This is that extra stamp of approval. At just kind of having a nice way, if you're behind, to really just, pull way back, dealing 4, gaining 4, putting a body into play. Sometimes it's just all you need to either get back into it or slam the pedal into the gas and pull over the finish line.
And normally an effect like that would be vulnerable to something like Village Rite sacrificing the targeted creature in response.
Yeah.
Because you also target yourself to mill 4, you always get the 4/4. So you sometimes they can cut you off of the life gain, but you're always going to get the mill 4 and the 4/4 zombie token, the amass. And that mill 4 often just gets you to Uro.
Yeah.
That's a really frustrating thing to have. Like, deal with the Uro and be like, okay, they only have 1 or 2 cards in their graveyard. We've got a couple turns, and then they just go Enter the God Eternals. Sometimes I gain life, but I've got another body you have to deal with. So your priest probably doesn't deal with my Uro, and I'm ready to Uro you next turn. It really is. It's the best card.
It really is. It seems really good. And then Heartless Act, another phenomenal removal spell. I love to see these on too. Don't love this one, but this is a product of not wanting to leave in. You even saw me when we were sideboarding. I was really considering not bringing in these, leaving these in the deck, but I think on the draw, I would rather have these. On the play, I think I'm going to switch these out for Narsets if you were to win this game. That's my thought process on that one.
That makes sense to me.
All right.
I definitely get Agonizing Remorse more than I would expect out of these decks.
Yeah.
Post board, but sometimes it nabs like an escape creature, which can be quite good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it nabs my removal spell for Nissa, and I've been slow playing, assuming I can deal with a Nissa that way.
Mostly what I wanted to do is hit your Woe Strider. If you go 1-drop, 2-drop, and I can hit your Woe Strider and get that out of there, Woe Strider is just a very good magic card that is just quite annoying. Makes all my removal spells, you get a little bit of value out of all of them. You set up your draws so nicely. I think I'm just as afraid of Woe Strider as I am a Priest out of that deck, and it doesn't feel like it should be the most impactful card, but it just really is annoying,
Woe Strider, it doesn't read as, overtly powerful as a card like Uro does. And it's not on Uro's level, but Woe Strider is just a very strong magic card.
Agreed. Top 20, maybe top 25 cards in Standard or something like that. It's definitely a powerful card that's very underrated.
Yeah.
Similar to Rankle. I think that is another card that's underrated. People are starting to catch on. That's starting to pop up in a lot of black decks that used to be sacrifice based, and now people are realizing that to beat these Sultai decks, going above Eliminate is good. Not getting gusted is good. So Rankle fits that mold quite well right now, and I think it's at a great spot.
Yeah. I love me some Rankle.
Oh, me too. It's my favorite card from Throne for sure.
Yeah. I think it's up there for it and Brazen Bar are pretty close. Rankle just does so much. Yeah. And I've started using it actually a little bit differently. I know when I was playing more against Reclamation, the goal was to just sort of limit their resources as much as possible. Yeah. You're almost always doing discard. Against Sultai, I've often found myself doing the draw mode more often because they're actually tapping out for really expensive spells like 5 and 6 mana.
Yeah.
And, you give them extra cards and they can't use them all. Mm-hmm. So you just clog their hand with cards they can't deploy, and you're getting more gas and you're more efficient. And you're able to just sort of gain virtual card advantage that way. Yeah. And just win the game with them having 5 cards in hand.
I've always been much more aggressive with Rankle than most people that I see, and I always kind of feel that I'm wrong, but I'm like, I win these games, and it feels like maybe I gave them extra chances at outs and stuff like that, but I tend to use it very aggressively as well. But Rob, you got any questions for us before we get started?
Yeah, the first one is about a deck that we're not playing today, so I thought it might be good to ask. Bruton Pool wants to know, what do you think about Mardu Winota? Does it have a chance to stand up to Sultai Ramp as the aggro deck in the format?
So I do think it's good right now, but the problem is when you're trying to build decks to compete with Sultai right now, you want to minimize the deck's removal. And right now, Aether Gust is at an all-time high, so while most of your deck doesn't get hit by Aether Gust, your main card does, and that Nissa untap Aether Gust Winota plan, and then they get to untap and do things, is too bad. It's too bad for that deck, and you know you have to go for Winota at some point to win against Sultai. Most of the time, your aggressive deck is not good enough at that, at just beating down in the face of Uro and Nissa lands and stuff like that. So I don't love it just for that reason that Aether Gust is an all-time high, but if we start seeing a switch where Aether Gust become eliminate because people are playing these more tempo-based aggressive decks like we're seeing right now.
More Narsets in the mirror, eliminate's good against Narset.
Exactly, or Shark Typhoons. So there's a lot of things that are helping Winota right now, but the 4 Gust plan that I've been seeing in a lot of lists is not doing that deck any favors. So right now I don't think it's perfect, but definitely not bad. So yeah.
And I agree with what Corey said, and I think it underlies the issue that Mardu Winota has, that deck is very inflexible. It does what it does. You don't really change how you build it. It's almost all creatures. You don't really interact. You just do your thing.
Yeah.
So it's very dependent on having a favorable metagame around it to have a lot of success.
Yeah.
So if you want to play Mardu Winota, you have to be paying attention to what's going on in the metagame, and if conditions are favorable, play Mardu Winota. It's a really powerful deck, and it'll do well when people aren't really targeting it. But if they are targeting it, then you got to stay away.
Exactly. It's a very, very high variance deck in that look what Michael Jacob did at the Players Tour Finals. Nobody was playing any removal in the main deck. Nobody. It was all Temur Reclamation decks. They were playing maybe 1 or 2 Gusts tops. And then just Teferi and stuff like that. In the main deck, there was not really anything. So it got a lot of game 1 free wins. Not really the case right now. So I don't love that deck. But I do love playing it, but I don't love it right now. So one more question if you got it, Rob, and then we'll get started.
Stance had a question about the Sultai deck. So we've seen a decline of Ugin in the Sultai decks. Is that just because it's not good enough in the meta, or is it because it's too reliant on you having Nissa out all the time to be able to generate all that mana?
I just don't think it's good in the meta right now. In the mirror, it's not a very good card because you usually don't get a lot of value out of it, and then you can either attack it with Nissa, and then it's too slow against these aggro decks. I just don't think Ugin is great. I just don't think it's that good of a card right now. But
I'm there too. It really just doesn't line up well with what other people are doing. When your opponents have a bunch of direct answers to it, discard spells, and Hydroid Krasis, Ugin is often just going to be a really expensive 2-for-1.
Exactly. It's like an extinction event half the time. Sometimes you get a planeswalker and a creature instead, so it's a little more versatile. I can still see it being a one-of if it's really your favorite card.
It's like a Casualties of War that, 1 out of 10 times is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And take over a game.
Exactly. And 1 out of 10 times, AK, you untap with it. I don't know if I've ever untapped with that card, and then I just always, have it in my hand and die when I only got to 6 mana and stuff. So
sometimes even if you untap with it, all it does is bolt them once or twice. Then die. That's not even that great.
Yeah, so great questions, everyone. But Ugin ain't it right now.
I think after a Krasis rotates, you're going to see Ugin stock rise a lot.
Yeah, after rotation, I think Ugin is a card that feels like it's getting unbanned. Because
people are going to be playing to the battlefield more. It'll be able to wipe away planeswalkers. The fact that it exiles Uro, all good things.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's get to game number 2 here. How's your hand?
It's a little slow.
Yeah,
I just don't think I can afford to be this slow in this matchup.
Okay, I think I'm going to keep. This right here is not my favorite. I can't remember if I run 2 or 3, but that is not what I normally want to see. But this is enough to keep. It's early enough interaction, and it's just a decent setup. But this can be not that great of a hand depending on what I draw.
Yeah, I did not have a play on turn 1 or 2.
Oh yeah, that's pretty stuff. Start with the Woe Strider, go.
Yep. 4 lands, 2 Woe Striders, and a claim.
Oh, okay. Powerful, but probably not good enough. So, all right, down to 6.
What I got with my second hand, and
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it, and I'm not gonna be happy about it.
The old keeping sigh, eh? Alrighty, let's battle.
Blood Crypt tapped. You can go.
All right. Ooh. Well, I think with me drawing that, maybe Yeah, all right. We're going to try this nice and slow. I'm going to play Overgrown Tomb Go.
Okay, Blood Crypt tapped. You can go.
All right. I'm going to take 2 and take 3 total. 17. Ooh.
It's not a good hand.
Oh.
Unless your hand can't deal with Rankle, then maybe I'll get a shot.
I am going to take the Noxious Grasp.
Unsurprising.
Pass to you.
We got him now. Discard card, please.
All right. It's actually a decently tough discard. I think it's got to be this. Yeah, it feels kind of bad, man. Okay. I'm going to take 2.
Brings you to 15.
Yep. That's actually close what I want to take. All right. We're going to Uro.
18.
Draw. Play a passage and pass to you.
You have 4 in hand?
4, yep.
Okay. Fable Passage, sack.
Okay.
Already have double reds. I'm just going to get more black mana.
Okay.
Very rare that you need more than 2 red.
Makes sense.
I have had games where I escape a Croxa and claim it to kill my opponent.
Oh, yeah.
That's about the only time you need triple red.
That's awesome. All right, Ranky Poo, huh?
We are going to be rankling.
All right.
The only question is exactly how I want to utilize it.
I think you start with sack a creature, but other than that, I think it's up to you. So I'll go to 15.
And I kind of like the cards in my hand. There's some value to discarding to get closer to Croxa, but it also gets Corey closer to the Uro, so that kind of balances out.
Yep.
And you're closer anyway. So I think we're just going to draw.
So I'm going to go to 14. You're going to go to 19?
Yep. So you have plenty to do, and I'm looking for more stuff to do.
Okay.
And I'll pass the turn. Oh, God. A second Rankle in my hand you know about.
Yep, I know that. All right. So 3 cards in my yard. Yeah, I cannot do any Uro stuff this turn. Pretty impossible. So I think I have to do a nice sad play here. I'm going to sack this.
Fail to find.
Yeah, oh, that's really sad. Okay, it's not that sad.
I need things to be really sad for you. They've been really sad for me so far.
We're going to start with a sad crisis for 3.
Yeah, it's not that sad. You go to 15?
Yep, your go. Yeah, well, it's sad because it's a much better card to play late, but I just want to kind of try to step in front of Rankle, even though you have another one, so it's not really accomplishing all that I want, but...
Ugh, God.
Rankle?
Draw a card.
Okay.
Go to 15.
Really? You don't want to attack with Rankle and then just replay Rankle? That's what I thought for sure you would do.
I mean, it has haste. I can just do it next turn.
That's true.
If I find a claim, it's much better to claim your crisis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you can sack it to Rankle. That's true. Okay, don't do that.
Rankle and claim are best friends.
You mean claim and your entire deck are best friends, right?
Well, so you have 3 others?
Yep.
Not sure if I want to do that immediately.
It's reasonable.
You get like sort of punished if Corey has a removal spell for this Rankle, but that's going to kill the second Rankle anyway. So I don't actually think it's that punishing. So I think I'm just going to pass.
Okay. Luckily, I have the perfect counter for you not attacking. And that is a way to put 2 cards in my graveyard off 1 spell.
Oh, I have not drawn very well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take Village Rites. And I'm going to put this into the graveyard. Then I'm going to take 2, gain 3.
So you're going to end up at 16?
Gain 1, yep.
Okay, we desperately need a claim.
And pass to you. So I go to 16,
Yes. That was a little late. Okay, let's scry.
Okay.
Leave that on top.
Okay.
Take 4.
Okay.
Claim your crisis.
Oh, no.
That brings me to 11.
Okay.
Then I will attack for 6.
Okay, I'll have to take it. Down to 10.
10. Let's definitely sacrifice a creature.
Okay.
And how many cards do you have?
I have 5.
Well,
That's not the creature you're going to pick? Okay, I was trying to help you out.
So,
All right.
yeah, let's draw a card.
Okay, so I go to 9. And you go to 10?
Yep, 10 for me, 9 for you.
Alrighty.
And I will pass the turn. Okay.
Well, we're definitely starting with this. 4, 5. So let's do this. I want to untap this. Get you for 3.
I go to 7.
Trying to limit your Castle Lockblane's activations here. And I don't want to take any more damage because I'm getting kind of risky, and I'll pass to you.
You have 5 in hand?
5.
Okay, I'm going to start this turn with an Agonizing Remorse. Three removal spells.
Just 3 of them. Just 3 of them.
Well, that's going to kill me.
Yeah. Figured this hand was going to be good enough to push over.
I needed to hope you only had 1 removal spell in your hand, and you had 3.
Yeah, if I Heartless Act here and then you can rank all, then that's pretty nice. But yeah, with double Heartless Act, that takes that play away from you. God, now it's, if you can't deal with the removal, probably have these as targets. But
Well, the question is how I live, because now I'm at exactly 6.
oh yeah, you're going to 6 off that.
That's the problem.
Okay. I was gonna say you're not dead to the lands, but yeah.
I'm dead to the Nissa, so now I've got to figure out some other way of not dying, and I'm not sure what that is. I guess
Take Heartless Act, I Heartless Act, play a Rankle. I think that's the only thing I can think of.
It's I got a top deck into a removal spell for the Nissa, I think is my bet. So let's take the Crisis.
Okay.
I go to 6.
Okay.
Play Fable Passage, sack it.
Okay.
Get a Swamp. And unfortunately, having to deal myself 8 damage so I could find actual gas.
Yeah, not great.
Bite me, so unsurprisingly.
And my gas hunters gain me life, so that's our big dynamic shift here.
I've got a Soul Guide Lantern to exile the Uro.
Okay, that's pretty good.
And I will sacrifice it.
All right.
To rip an answer to the Nissa.
Hopefully no Noxious Grasps.
Now I wasn't beating the Crisis anyway, but this is like...
Well, you got the Crisis, right?
Yeah, but this is the card that punishes me for not taking a removal spell.
Oh, yep.
But if I take a removal spell and do this and you Crisis for 12, I'm not winning the game, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, just fell a little too far behind there.
Yep. Yeah, the games felt very, very close, and it felt like if you just had, a claim on time in the first game, or your mulligans and your draw just wasn't great game 2. But that is somewhat of the problem with decks that have to curve. Is you do have to aggressively mulligan more. I look at a pile of cards as long as it's game 1, and I don't have a bunch of dead cards in whatever hand I look at. It's like I'll keep. But so yeah.
Yeah, and there was never really any reprieve from the Sultai deck in those games you had. The Uro early, you had the Nissa follow-up, you had a couple pieces of disruption, whether it was Gust in game 1 or the removal in game 2.
Yeah, I had good hands.
Never really had a turn to breathe on my side, and that was enough.
Yep, and sometimes, playing against Sultai, it's like, okay, you try to minimize their interaction, but they can still go Thought Erasure, Uro into Nissa, and like that is good against every deck, So while you're minimizing their interaction, that doesn't mean you're going to win every time, because the core of the deck is still those cards, Uro, Nissa, and Krasis, and it's phenomenal. So tough deck to beat. Sultai is 1-0 against the other decks. We are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with round number 2 in the Sultai Gauntlet here on Versus Live.